Good evening. We have 6 o'clock and a little after, but thank you, Mr. Sanders. No. So I would like to call our meeting order. And first thing we have is our superintendent's comments.
Well, good evening, everybody. First thing I want to call attention to the board and the community. Received word yesterday that our school board was named an exemplary school board by the Georgia School Boards Association. There are 3 different levels for school boards: quality board, distinguished board, and exemplary board. And I think this is the first time in the history of our school district that we've received one of those distinctions. So I want to congratulate the people that sit up here with me, and Mr. Clack as well couldn't be with us this evening. And I also want to say a special thanks to Amanda Huell, who really took the time and energy into making that happen. So they'll be presented with an award later in November, early December in Atlanta at the Georgia School Boards Association Conference. So congratulations to all the members of our school board, as well as Amanda Huell on her work for that. Do want to call the board's attention. We are quickly approaching fall break, October 12th through the 16th. Excited to reach that milestone in the school year, and I know our students and parents are excited about that as well. I want to say thank you to the community for their involvement in our community strategic planning meeting. We had a tremendous turnout of individuals that came earlier or later in September and joined us to have a discussion about our strategic planning. We'll continue to work through that process. Do have some updates on athletics, arts, some great things going on. East Jackson High School varsity football team 6-0 for the first time, I think, since 2019 or 2009. And going well there. Volleyball and softball teams as well. Their cross country team, their boys are ranked 3rd in the state. Their girls are ranked 13th. They had a tremendous band competition at East Jackson High School last Saturday night, or Saturday all day, I guess I should say. Big thanks to Jonathan Bagley and Rebecca Hurd. Ms. Hurd's at the middle school and Mr. Bagley's at the high school for organizing that event. Had over 1,000 students participating in the band competition. So tremendous for our community to host that. They compete again this Saturday at Northgate, and I want to say Jackson County High School band was also at that competition, and I want to say thank you to them for staying home that weekend and being there. Girls flag football is off to a great start at both schools. Monday night, if we can get out of here on time, their East Jackson and Jackson County High School are playing in their inaugural game together at JCHS. I don't have the kickoff. 7:30 varsity, so hopefully we can make that happen.
Yes, sir.
I mean, no. Also want to say congrats to the Jackson County High School band. They received straight superiors at that competition at East. Had the first place drum major, color guard, and overall band in 5A. So also the Jackson County High School yearbook from last year, they've received a huge award from Herf Jones for their work. Also at the middle school level, East Middle cross country, they have the state championships this Saturday. The boys cross country team finished 2nd in our new league, and the girls came in 1st place and were league champions. Legacy Knoll had a volleyball team this year, and they went undefeated in the regular season and had a tremendous season. Lost in the playoffs, but had a great season. West Jackson Middle School, the volleyball team won the league championship, and also the combined teams from Legacy and West Jackson, boys cross country team won the championship, and the girls finished in 2nd. And the football team won the conference championship for the 2nd year in a row, and they're undefeated again. So congratulations to all those students. And I think the biggest thing, not only the success matters, but that the kids are participating, and they're active, and they're engaged, and they're connected to their school through those activities. So thank you for your support of those programs and the partnership that we have together to make that happen for our kids. And thank you to our administrators and teachers, coaches and sponsors who are supporting those events and supporting our students in those areas. And it's a great time to be a part of our school district, so thank you.
All right, well, good evening. Good to see everyone. It has been a busy time in teaching and learning and out at schools, and it was, as we've mentioned before, it's been our goal with our team to just be out in the schools as much as possible. And we know it's an implementation year of a lot of new pieces that fall in line with our strategic priorities of clarity in those instructional and curriculum resources and continuous improvement. So it's been, I just want to give a shout out to our teachers and leaders. They have been working so hard, and they've been very good about being reflective and bringing feedback back and working with our team. So I feel like, you know, any year that you implement some new pieces, you know there are going to be challenges, and that's what we tell them. We're going to stay the course. We are not going to layer on a bunch of new things next year. We're just going to keep getting better and better using those tools and within the structures that we've put in place. So it's an exciting time to see that progress being made. I also wanted to give a shout out to our team and also East Jackson Comprehensive High School. We presented at GASIS last week, so it was just a proud time for Jackson County Schools. We actually, thanks to Dwayne for getting the steam bus there for us, we had the steam bus parked out front of the Classic Center and drew a lot of attention from all the districts. Everybody wanted to know about how they could get a steam bus and what was going on in the steam bus. So we actually had a K-12 presentation where we talked about knowledge building and incorporating literacy with the experiential learning that happens in the STEAM bus, and had representatives from elementary and then high school, and even brought in CTAE and how our CTAE teachers are really focusing on literacy. So the presentation was well received, and again, it was just neat to have that STEAM bus out front and getting the recognition there. And then East Jackson, Julie Crouch and Jesse Wood presented on bridging middle school to high school and using data to intervene, and that's a presentation they're kind of taking on the road. They presented at Summer Gale and then presented again, and they're kind of building confidence as they do that. They got some recognition from other obviously other districts, but even just at the state level for what they're doing. So that was great to see. And I'm going to turn it over to a couple. First of all, Sandy Aiken and Martha Wilson are going to bring a little bit about, we have an upcoming exciting time here with kind of partnering together to bring both the ACT and the ASVAB. So they're going to tell you a little bit about October 18th testing day.
Good evening. So we are super excited about October 18th and the opportunities that we're going to have for our high school students on that day. So on that day, the 9th graders will be taking the PSAT 8-9. So the PSAT 8-9 is the kind of the first entry into that pre-SAT testing. Gets them used to that setup, gets them used to what that's going to look like. We have about 895 kids who will take that test on that date. And then we have the 10th graders and a little bit of 11th graders that will take the PSAT NMSQT, National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test. So this test, this is a really important test for our 10th graders and 11th graders. This is that PSAT that feeds you getting ready to take the SAT. It feeds to Khan Academy and other online things so students can use that data then to prepare for those tests. For those 11th graders who are taking this test, this is their qualifying test for national merit. You have to take the PSAT, NMSQT as an 11th grader in the fall of your 11th grade year to qualify for that test. So it's really important. We have about 117 11th graders who will take that test on this day. The other very new thing that we're doing this year is that we are offering the ACT as a district school day test. I'm sure you know that the ACT and SAT are normally just given on the weekends. And so this is an opportunity for our 11th and 12th graders to take that during the school day. They did pay at a reduced rate, and we give that here. Both Jackson County students and East Jackson students will come here to do that on that day, and I am just really excited about that opportunity that we're offering our kids. And we have about 276, I think. No, that number's wrong, and I wrote that number. It's 276. It's not 176. I apologize for that. I'm like, no, that's not right. It's 276 students who are coming to take the AC. So I apologize. That is my error, totally. I wrote that number. No, ma'am, we're not paying for that, but if you do it as a school day test in your district, it's a reduced rate coming from the ACT. Also, if you are above 40% free and reduced, if one of your schools is above 40%, you got a reduced rate also. So they paid $52 to take it total, and it's usually 70 or 75, I think, on a norm. Is it 95? Okay. So it's a reduced rate for our kids. I think it's just such a great opportunity. They don't have to get up on Saturday morning after they've been out at a football game on Friday night or whatever, and so I'm excited about that opportunity.
And that's the first time we've done that.
Yes, ma'am, it
We're
is.
gonna try to continue that.
We hope so.
Yes.
We hope so. Yeah, we're excited about that opportunity. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to offer the ASFAB. Now, this is not the ASFAB that you took when you were in school, or it's not a recruitment ASFAB. This is one that's given in schools now that helps them figure out math, science, reading, problem solving. What are your potential jobs based on how you score in those areas? The recruitment ASFAB is now given by the military in their recruitment centers. That's not what we're doing. It is free and it is given by the military, but it's a different type of, more of a career exploratory type test than what we're used to. And so that's the 4 tests that we're doing. It's a big day for our high school kids. And Martha's going to talk about kind of why we're doing this.
And the ASVAB, as far as that goes, we wanted to make sure that everybody had the opportunity to take one of those tests. So we knew that the 9th graders were taking the 8, 9, 10th graders. The state pays for the 10th graders to all take the PSAT. And then the 11th graders, of course, are the qualifying test. But we wanted to make sure that all of the 11th and 12th graders had another opportunity to do some college and career readiness type testing. And the one thing about the ASVAB, if you'll go to the next slide, that actually is feeding into our accountability. This year is the first year they're going to count that. That's in the amendment to the U.S. Department of Education. So they're expanding that, so this should help our college and career readiness scores at our high schools for all those students. Just the fact of the sheer numbers of how many will take it will increase that pretty substantially. So that's another reason why we wanted to make sure that everybody had that opportunity as well, 11th and 12th graders. And then if you go to the last slide.
I want to ask something to you
Yep.
about the PSAT, talking about the difference. So is that something new, or have we done that?
We've done that in the past.
We did that
started
last year. We started that last year.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it just gives them an opportunity to get ready for that. Again, just giving them more exposure to those kind of tests to hopefully increase those
I'm
scores.
just curious about how much does that cost us? I mean, I'm all in favor of it, don't get me wrong. I'm just curious to know. I'd like to be able to share that with individuals, what we're doing for our kids.
Not for 8, 9.
No, for 8, 9.
But, I mean, I'm just curious to know how much we pay locally for that. People need to know that we're doing that kind of good thing.
Right, it's about $8,000 for us to pay for the 8, 9, yeah.
The 10th graders are paid for by the state
State.
completely.
Yeah.
11th graders self-pay for the national merit.
Yeah.
Right.
But the 9th grade is who we.
It's who
Ninth
you-
graders, right. And so then, one thing, and I don't know if you saw that, but the SAT, the rankings as far as the state goes came out in a couple of weeks ago. And then the ACT scores for 23 will come out in the next week or so. And then, so we'll have those for you next month, just to show you how those rates went, and as well as the graduation rates will be published on the 10th of October next week. So,
So we'll be bringing those to you next month.
Next month,
All
right.
3 of those together.
any questions? Yeah.
So how do we track who's taking these tests, who are missing, how do we make sure that those that are being missed, we are getting them to take the test?
So we do track who takes them and the scores that those students have. So, I mean, that's information that goes to the high schools. And so we really try hard, especially, I mean, Sandy's been working through all these students taking the ACT and ASVAB and everything to make sure that everybody's accounted for. That's a lot of the reason, too. We wanted to give the ASVAB as well, just to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity.
Each individual teachers talking to their students about it, or our counselors talking to them, how are we making sure we're accurate?
So a little bit of both. The high schools have done all kinds of blasts on their, the communication they send home. But we did a big thing in first period, every first period class, because we have to do it that way so we get every single student, you know, with Empower involved too. So that was the expectation, was that every first period teacher. We do it through TAA, that kind of gets a little wonky with Empower, so first period is a better way for us to do it. Next week in first period on Monday, we're kind of running the pre-test for PSAT. You have to do this on your computer, and for ACT, you have to create an account. So all that'll happen next Monday. So that's kind of running through first period right now, as far as that communication piece of, here's what we need for you to tell your kids, here's the paper they need.
I just,
Right, because the other thing is this is all online, so this is
Yes,
new.
new.
So, you know, in the past, the ACT and SAT were all on paper. Now, the SAT, the last paper administration of it was in October, will be in October, and then everything is gonna be online. So that helps us to make sure that we account for everybody, and, you know,
And one of the issues we're trying to solve here is, historically, when we've done PSAT, the kids that didn't take it, the ninth and 10th grader, the ninth and 10th graders took it, but the 11th and 12th graders, that school day was oftentimes not utilized appropriately. So that's part of our reason for making sure that we have better attendance that day, by providing these opportunities for our students to take tests.
okay. All the tests?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, we
And
try
the
to find
ASVAB's
something
a
for
little bit
everybody.
shorter. It's a little shorter, but they're gonna do some college and career readiness stuff, like, little activities with them to bring that up, because the ACT's the longest test as far as time, during that day, so.
So the ASVAB, PNC, like, when you text, that kind of the.
It
Well-
doesn't, it's not a direct feed, they would still have to take their test, but it kind of gives you, it gives you a career exploration, say, you're really good at these things, these are some possible career paths for you.
So then who follows up with those?
I can speak to that a little bit about our plans
no,
that we have.
it's not.
So one additional layer is recognizing that that's another area that we can continue to improve, is that advisement. And so we've already set a date to get all of our secondary counselors together to collaborate on that, to kind of get a plan for how we can then follow up with our students, to make sure that they have all of the information as we move forward. We just want to deepen that knowledge of our counselor group, and also the intentionality with following up and through that advisement process. So we kind of have a plan for that, I believe, early November. We've got them together, and they'll be moving forward with that.
I asked that, I talked to a parent not long ago who, non-relative, no one that was in their household, that young man, was gonna sell something fast, but, through the help of the parent, got into a new tech, all the career path. And every home does not have
Right.
people that help guide.
Yep. Yep, it's very important, but thank you. And thank you, ladies, for your hard work with getting that together. And now Lisa Ellis is going to give you an update on some elementary. It's kind of getting to be that grading and conference time, so we just want to keep you in the loop on some things that our schools are working through.
So you all know that we've had standards-based reporting for some time now. And so obviously we're keeping that, we're still moving forward. But as the standards have changed at the state level, and as our curriculum has changed a bit, we're making these shifts, we knew that we had to revisit our grading and reporting practices. And so therefore we did gather that feedback, and if you'll notice, we had plenty of committees and teams, and including district leaders, teacher leaders, school leaders, all of the above, you know, all of those folks, to kind of weigh in on that and just kind of assess what we had in place. And in doing so, we realized, yes, there are some things that we need to improve and with our reporting and our standards-based report card. Because the intent and purpose behind a report card, obviously, is to make it clear for a parent of how their child is progressing through those standards. And I think we definitely have room to improve in that area. And so therefore, some of the changes that the committees came and agreed on are how we want to, what descriptors we use, which are the ALDs, which are better known as the achievement level descriptors. And those mirror the state milestones as well as the state language. So that also helps to keep that communication clear and continuous through kindergarten up to 5th grade. And so if we're all speaking the same language, that's easier for parents as well, and for teachers. And so another change were the general learner outcomes, which are also known as the GLOWs. In the past, we've had 3 of those. Those are more of a learner's behavior, kind of that learner, you communicate to a parent how their child is taking responsibility for his or her learning. And so we've actually moved from 3 to 6. And so there's a rubric that is on the front of the report card. You can kind of see just that snippet there. And so all of that criteria is explained to parents and to students so that they kind of know, and it's a rating scale. And then, of course, our quarterly summary marks. Again, if we're communicating to parents, instead of waiting to the end of the year, as we have done before, to report their grade or their summary marks in those main subject areas, we need to also be accountable for being proactive of that and communicating that to parents at the end of each term. Because as a parent and as a school leader, you don't want surprises. And so we need to be on the forefront of that and making sure that we're communicating those. So, and thinking about those changes that we decided to, we all agreed upon, then we were like, okay, well, now we've got to look at creating some guidance documents for our parents and for our teachers, because just as Dr. Hardigree said, our teachers, they are doing a phenomenal job of accepting these changes, working through those. I mean, even sitting in PLCs with them, supporting that. They know it's the right direction and they know it's the right work, but it's hard work and it's muddy work. So we are really proud of them for taking these shifts on. But so what we decided to do is to make some documents. We revised the grading and reporting handbooks, which also went out to parents as well as to our teachers and staff and all of the folks involved, as well as creating some guidance documents for parents about our literacy shifts, as well as how we're grading and the 5 pillars of reading. And not only did we do that for parents, we've also done that for staff so that they have that at conference times beside them so that they can feel more confident in what they're speaking to. Because, you know, in reality, it's new to everyone, to our state and to our educators. So we have to make sure and support them in these shifts, as well as our parents being able to understand, you know, because at the end of the day, as a parent, and I know that, you just want to know how your child is performing at the end of the day. So. Anything else, Dr. Hardigree?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank y'all for your time.
Doing a great job of leading that and being out in the schools, so I appreciate all the
That's
hard
my
work.
favorite place to be.
Yep.
Well, I just wanted to say that both of my daughters were at that conference last week.
Uh-huh.
And one of them got to hear our group and they were quite impressed.
Oh, good. That's awesome to hear. Wonderful.
Yep,
Yep.
that's great.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your support.
Ms. Todd?
Well, good evening. I just have a couple of updates for you this evening. First, you do have your personnel recommendations that you'll review in executive session. We are continuing to fill any vacancies, so we're excited about that. I wanted to update you just a little bit on our Heroes transition timeline. I love it when we can put a check mark next to a checklist and we have accomplished our first target date. The principal position at Heroes is posted and we are accepting applications. Our goal is to hopefully have a principal that we can bring to you for approval at the November meeting. And then, as you can see, we'll move forward in our timeline. We were able to bump up our letters to parents concerning House Bill 251 up a little bit. Mr. Hooper will get into that during his presentation and what that looks like. But that's going to help us be able to finalize our numbers with enrollment. And then once we have those enrollment numbers, we can move toward our staffing. The next slide is our current enrollment projections. This is, I think you've already seen it, but this is based on where we are right now. So we know these are going to change, but this is our best estimate for right now. Pre-K is our outlier because we do know we would have to apply for the state for additional classrooms. But right now, these are the numbers we're working with. So the next slide will show you how we translated that into staffing projections. We use these slides. We've met with the faculty and staff of Gum Springs, West Jackson Elementary, and we wrapped it up today with North. We are trying our best to get out there to show them that we are supporting them during this. We know it's a little unnerving to think about having to move to a new school. And so we're trying very hard to show them that we hear them and we want them to know that we're going to talk to them throughout this whole process. I made the comment today, we're not going to come in here and say, get your stuff, put it in the U-Haul, you're leaving. We're going to have conversations. We're going to listen to them and what their desires and needs are. So I feel confident that we've gone out and answered the questions that they have, answer those as they come in, just to let our staff know it's going to be messy. And we realize that, and we're going to try our best to comfort them along the way, but also at the end of the day, this is what's best for kids. I was at West Jackson Middle School today doing some HR training, and that building is a different place with just the number of children that we were able to transition to Legacy Knoll. So that was exciting, just to be able to see that and actually feel it today. What we're stressing to the staff is that our goal is to ensure equity. Our kids deserve equitable experiences across the district. And so when we start looking at staffing a new school, this is what we're looking at. Do we have a staff that has a broad range of certification levels? We don't need a school with all brand new teachers. We need a school that has a balance of that. And so a lot of the fears that our teachers had, well, while I was last hired, I'll probably be the one to go. Maybe, but what we want to see is we need to have a good balance, and we also don't want to disrupt the balance at our current schools because we're doing pretty good with that right now. So the next slide shows you what we've been communicating with them about what our procedures will be. We'll do our volunteer transfer process. And what we learned last year through the process with Legacy Knoll is that we probably need 2 windows for transfers. We do that with the letter of intent process that covers all of our schools and who would like to transfer, not only to Heroes, but another school. But then we found out through the process that we get to a certain point where we have placed the people who have volunteered and we still have some gaps. And when we said, hey, we're looking for a 7th grade science teacher, we actually had people like, oh, well then okay, I am interested. So we kind of took note of that, and we're going to do that process a little differently this year where we'll do 2 rounds. Here, anybody that's interested, go ahead and sign up. After that, okay, here's what we got left. Anybody want to come and interview or inquire about those positions? We also are assuring our staff we're not going to hire anybody from the outside until all of our people are taken care of. That's just important. Take care of your own. And then if we do have to go down the road of reassignment, we have a point system that we've developed based on that equity chart where we're making sure that we're building that staff based on certification level, years of experience, not just years in Jackson County, but all around years of teaching experience. And then we have to ensure we have those specialized levels there too. We've got to have endorsed teachers. We've got to have gifted teachers. We have to have co-teachers. So all of that plays in. So it's not a very cut and dry process. I wish it were. It would make my job a whole lot easier to say last hired, first move in, but it's not that easy. But I hope our staff understands as we're getting out there that we do want them involved in the process. It will be a conversation. It won't be just down to the numbers. We do care about, how long they've been at a school, where their children are, and we want those conversations to happen. We were so fortunate that Dr. Ledford-Lyle joined us in January and helped with that transition. So we are thankful for you for allowing us to go ahead and post and hopefully replicate that with hiring the Heroes principal. But ready or not, here we go. October is already here and November's right around the corner. So just wanted to give you an update on where we were with that timeline and our communication with staff.
I know we won't know until after the information goes out to all the teachers and they respond system-wide who wants to return and all that.
Yes, ma'am.
But do you have any anticipation of about how many elementary from those 3 schools that are going to be retiring on us?
I don't have an anticipated number.
I just thought we might have some that are.
I have looked at our staffing of those that are 21 years and up, which that will show you kind of where you're at. Our elementary schools we have a good number that could. Whether they will, I'm not quite sure. We start our one-on-one meetings with TRS soon, and sometimes I can get a better picture of who's coming to talk retirement after that.
Can you explain the certification levels to me, please?
Sure. So level 4 is they hold a bachelor's degree. Level 5 is a master's degree. Level 6 is their specialist. And then 7 is doctorate. And our district is very fortunate to have a wide range from bachelor to doctorate, and each of our schools is very equitably staffed.
This is a tangent a little bit, but so we have, what do we offer for, whether it's a parapro or someone with a bachelor's degree, what programs do we offer to help them move up through the system?
Sure, we've got great partnerships with our surrounding universities. So I'm always pushing out, hey, this college is offering degree programs, either whether it's a master's level or a specialist. A lot of colleges right now are focused on our para to teacher, which we push out, and there's been a grant that's offered that we've made sure they're aware of, that their tuition can be discounted. Very fortunate, Piedmont, UGA, Brenau offer those programs where our paras are allowed to work and still go to school and complete that student teaching and practicum experiences in their job, so it's job embedded. We have several of our paras signed up for that right now, and so.
Tuition reduction?
Some will qualify for the tuition reduction. Some of them will qualify for a scholarship. It just depends on.
I thought I remember we discussed in the past that tuition's taken care of.
It depends on the college or university, because they're the ones that are taking in the tuition. So some of them offer scholarship opportunities. There was a grant that was issued by the state for our area that allowed the colleges to offer 50% off tuition, but they have to meet requirements in terms of income, much like your high schoolers do when they're applying for college. In terms of
If we have someone that we want to keep, then 100% help pay for a fair program. So,
any other questions? Thank you.
Mr. Hooper with Public Relations.
Good evening, Board. All right, so we'll start with the Heroes Elementary timeline for our families. Very similar to what we did when we split West Jackson Middle to Legacy Knoll. His family's got a notification letter saying what school they are zoned for. Of course, that information's already on our website when we rezoned last year, but this is kind of an official confirmation. And so, unlike last year, we did it in December. We're going to push that timeline up this year to November. So families will get them the week before and the week of Thanksgiving, depending on how the post is running that time. But those letters will specifically specify what school they're zoned for, and then the House bill process that we're going to go through. And just like we did last year, we had an expedited House bill process where they would fill out the information, and then those were reviewed in that time frame. So last year it was January. This year it'll be December. So December 1st to December 31st, we'll accept those expedited House bills. So when we come back in January, we have the new principal for Heroes on board. They'll be able to review those House bills with the other 3 elementary school principals. And I expect it's going to look a lot like what it did with West and Legacy, where you're going to have kids who want to go to the new one and kids who want to stay. So, so we'll get that going. Obviously, when you're splitting 3 schools, this is going to help immensely with the stuff that Ms. Todd was just talking about with staffing and personnel. So we're moving that up a month, and we're really excited about that. And then after January, or that December window, any House bills that come through will go on the normal House bill timeline, where the district has to make a decision by July 1st. I tell you that a lot of those decisions are made much quicker as they come in, but it is not a guaranteed spot. Of course, that letter does explain that, all the things that go in the House bill and that we can't hire additional personnel, got to have the space, everything that goes into that. So, but those will be going out in November. So that's a big moment when people are officially going to find out. The great thing is they're all still going to be Panthers. So we're not moving anybody, different mascots. Everybody still gets to be a Panther. So that'll be a great thing. Next thing, obviously, Teacher of the Year and Support Person of the Year banquet was last Thursday. What a great night that was. We've gotten some unbelievable emails from those honorees. Mr. Pete McClellan, our bus driver of the year, texted and said it's one of the greatest nights of his life. So I thought that was really, really sweet and awesome. So again, Dr. Stephanie Westhaver from West Jackson Elementary was our Teacher of the Year. Mr. Pete McClellan was our bus driver of the year. Interesting fact about him, he's been driving a bus since 1960. When he was in the United States military in Turkey. So thought that was pretty wild. And then our support person of the year, Mr. Keith Ware, celebrating his daughter's birthday with us that night and then winning the award. So really awesome. Want to say again, thank you to our sponsors. When you put this graphic together and you see how many businesses got involved, whether those are organizations that service the state or the region or businesses that are right here in our backyard, everybody was getting involved to help out, whether those were monetary donations or embroidering things for us or printing things for us or donating things for our swag bags. That banquet only happens because of these businesses and allowing us to give the financial donations to our, the financial contributions to our winners. So we want to thank those businesses. We did it on social media. We'll do it again here tonight. Last thing for you, I've talked about it a little bit last year, but the Atlanta Hawks reached out to us and wanted to host us for an Atlanta Hawks night. And so worked with them, found a night that works. So Saturday, January 13th, not July, 2024, the Hawks play the Wizards. And people can go to our website, jacksonschoolsga.org/Hawks, buy tickets. They're discounted tickets. They get a concession stand credit, and then portion of those ticket sales comes back to our school system. So very cool opportunity. I think it's a great opportunity for people in Jackson County to get together outside of our community and do something fun. It's a Saturday night, 7:30, so no one has to rush back for school the next day. It's a Saturday in the winter, so athletics should be primarily Fridays and then wrestling maybe on Saturday during the day. So it should free up everybody to go to the Hawks game, and we're looking forward to seeing everybody there. And I think we're going to get a special shout out over the PA while we're there for that night. So it could be a cool thing, and we're excited to have everybody down in Atlanta that night. So any questions? What video? Well, it's on YouTube, so... Well, thank you. We're obviously in a great spot to put out some great content for our athletics and our performing arts. And when they ask, I try to accommodate. And so glad to do it. It wasn't me. So, no, honestly, it was great. And, obviously Coach Pettis giving us the locker room access before the game was really cool. And I think that shows the character of people leading our players. You go to other locker rooms and you might hear cuss words throughout the state. It wasn't a single cuss word from the East Jackson locker room. The message was, we love you, let's go play. And I thought that was really telling of the leadership of the athletics that we have here at Jackson County. So, yeah.
I just want to make a comment too, to thank you and Ms. Todd, both, and everybody that was involved in the band last week. It was really, really nice. I know many of us talked to some of the sponsors that were there, and they were all just so gracious and talked about how much they enjoyed being able to be a part of that. And so it was really marvelous.
Yes, ma'am. I think we come in Friday morning a little tired from the setup all day and then tearing it down at night. But we always make the comment 2 years in a row. That's just a fill your bucket night. That's a bucket filler.
That too, that everybody, all the employees were there doing their part. So we're very
Yes, ma'am. We're glad to do it. Looking forward to next year. So awesome. All right. Thank y'all.
Mr. Wester?
Good evening. It's great to see everybody this evening. Just a few things to update you on, starting with enrollment. And we are right back up to where we started the year with. So we had that little dip with some of our 10-day counts coming off the roll there. But we've seen we're back up to 10-6-24. And that's about a 5% increase over the end of last year. And we've got kids enrolling every day. So it's just like we thought it would. It's going to keep going. But we're in good shape, and we're grateful for all these young people that are joining us and the opportunity we have to work with them. So you can see enrollments there. No big surprises on that one. Just a couple of things to share with you. Grateful for those of you who were able to help us with our strategic planning community engagement meeting a week or two ago. I guess it was 2 weeks now. And that was just an amazing opportunity, I think, for our community to come and to share, right? Some of their thoughts on our strengths, our opportunities, and some of the areas that we can grow. And that information is being brought together with the survey that is currently out right now for our community. Then we have one more day for the survey, and once that survey concludes tomorrow evening, then we will get with the GSBA and continue that process to organize our strategic plan for the next 5 years. So we'll be working on disaggregating some of that data over the next few weeks, and then we will have a planning process that will begin with a big meeting in probably December or January, and then we'll get to the action teams and get to planning out what we really want the direction of our district to be for the next 5 years. So we're grateful for the opportunity to meet with so many of our community members on the 21st and to have even more input from the survey that is out there now. So we're grateful for that input for them.
I even have some of them say to me afterwards, I hope I can be on one of the next committees.
Yes.
We're excited.
We've heard that from several, and we'll do our best to make sure we include as many folks as we can. Absolutely. Great opportunity to hear what our folks would like to see happen, right? So. Yeah. Yeah, it really is amazing.
That's something new. We've never done anything to that level before. And it was really impressive. I was really excited about that, doing that.
Yes, ma'am. And it's really how we move forward together as a community. We need that input from multiple stakeholders, different viewpoints, the good and the areas that we can improve. And we're grateful for that input. Absolutely. We will utilize that and make ourselves better, and that's what it's all about. So very good. So the next step there will be that planning meeting that we'll get that going here in the next month or two and get started with that. So just to let you know where we are with that. I also wanted to just update you on our District United Way campaign. And this is our second year of doing United Way campaign, where we work together with our staff members, right, to try to raise some money for a very worthy organization with United Way. And this year our goal was to beat last year's total, which was about $12,500. We have about a week left in the campaign, and I'm just so proud to say that our staff members have already pledged and contributed over $14,000 to the United Way for the 2024 school year. So we've got another week. We'll see if we can get a few more bucks in from everybody, but certainly grateful for the generosity that our staff members have already demonstrated to this great organization and the partnership we have with the United Way. And then the next one for me was just wanted to update you on our coaching PL. We started that this year. We had a great session in August talking about nutrition and how we can serve our student athletes with nutrition. And then in September, we invited Jen Gallus, who is the Assistant Athletic Director for Social Media and Digital Strategy at the University of Georgia. She works with their athletic department. She came and she shared out with our coaches at 6:45 in the morning. Remember, they're coming really early to do this. She shared out about how UGA approaches the idea of sharing out their story digitally, right, through social media, through their website, and all those different pieces, and gave our coaches and our athletic departments really some tips on how we could be even more effective in helping to tell the story of the great things that are happening in our schools. So we're excited for that and how our coaches will be able to implement some of those ideas over the next year. And so that was a great opportunity for them to do that as well. So just a few updates there on some things that are happening through student services. I would like to ask Dr. Waxter to come up and just share a little update on Legacy Youth Mentoring. If you have any questions about anything I've shared so far. Thanks so much. Appreciate y'all.
Good evening, Board. Just wanted to give you an update on Legacy Youth Mentoring. It's my understanding it's been around since 2005. So 18 years. It's been involved with Jefferson City, Jackson County, and Commerce City. Wanted to read a couple things about the mentoring program before we go over some of these numbers. They are trained, and there's 5 key things that Ms. Stevens trains them on, and that's they show that they care, they challenge growth, they provide support, and they share power and expand possibilities. So these are kind of the core area things they talk about with their mentees when they're there. A couple of stats I wanted to share with you too for those who receive mentoring as a student. 55% more likely to go to college or technical school if you have a mentor. You're 46% less likely than peers to start using illegal substances. 52% less likely to skip a day of school, which I appreciate because I'm over attendance. 90% more interested in becoming mentors themselves, and over 130% more likely to hold a leadership position in a club or sport. So there's a lot of positive things that come out of mentoring. And I got one more fact I want to share too. It says since 2005, they've mentored over 2,000 kids, which is incredible. So think of the size of Jackson County High School, and every one of those students was mentored. So it's amazing. If you go back to the other slide real quick. So if you see there, there has been growth with our mentors as well as our students being served. We continue to try to get more mentors in. It is volunteer, so we do recruit. We have gone to neighborhoods to recruit as well, to get folks in there. And as you can see, the numbers have gone up as we get more mentors. Numbers go up for students being mentored. So it's been a great, great thing for our students. And I know all of you are invited for the big the gala at the end of the year in April, and where we get to see students be with their mentors, where they have a nice meal, and there's a celebration and a guest speaker. So we look forward to seeing that in April. Okay? All right. Thank you.
Good evening, Board. So, as always, we have some great information to share with you on the financial side. If we want to start with the SPLOST for the month, we were down a little bit over last month, but of course, as I mentioned last month, we had an adjustment that was given by the state due to some inaccurate calculations of distributions that had happened basically over the past 9 to 10 months. So we are down a little bit over last month's comparison, but everything else is above year over year and over the 12-month average. So we are still trending in a good place for SPLOST. And then if you want to take a look at general fund, we are also doing great on that side. We are a little bit above where we were this time last year with our fund balance, which is a great thing because, again, like I've mentioned several times, the first 2 or 3 months of the fiscal year involves quite a few large one-time payments. And so for us to still be maintaining our fund balance at that level is a great thing. And then if you want to look at the overall financial report, of course, we have not started seeing any property tax revenue coming in yet, but bills would be going out this month. And so next month, we should start seeing some of that money trickling in. And then, of course, November and December and part of January will be good months for that income. So you'll see a big change on our revenue side. And then our expenditures are a little bit above where we are at this point in the year. We finished about 25% of the year, and we are actually at 26% if you don't include the open purchase orders. If you do include those, then we're at 27%. But again, as we go throughout the year, that will level itself out with some of those big expenditures that have already occurred. Do y'all have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Board, thanks for the opportunity to come speak again, to address some things on the operations department. This week, we celebrated our custodians. Monday was our school custodian appreciation day. Patted those folks on the back a little bit. Many schools applauded those efforts. We know that they're an integral part of our schools, and they impact our students just like our teachers many times, sometimes more so, and certainly have an impact on our school system. I can't say enough about our custodial crew, our supervisory staff, Mr. Farmer's leadership. If you go in our schools, they're as clean as any I've seen across the state. I've been in a lot of schools in my day, but they're very impressed, just on top of things, so I can't applaud them enough for the job they do. In the operations department, we're continuing to look at our budgets pretty close. I want to say a few things before Mr. Farmer comes up. Just continually to tweak and trying to be as efficient as possible in all areas. Working with Mr. Peterson, he was not able to make it tonight. He's been at a workshop last couple of days, but he is working hard to decrease expenditures in the transportation department. We're looking at ways we can be more efficient in the facilities and on the facilities and maintenance staff as well. You know, we continue to evaluate those expenditures. I know you all are aware. Monthly, we look at our expenditures. We look at everything we're taking out, trying to stay on goal with our budgets. Just to give you some information, you know, last year we expended $1.8 million on utility cost, on energy, our power bills. Blows my mind as an old country kid. You know, that's a lot of money for me. We watch those bills every month, and we compare them to the previous months. We compare them to the previous years, and we've seen the increases. If they're drastic, we want to kind of figure out what's changed. We do the same things with our water sewer bills. As you've seen, some of those have been changed over time. So we're very appreciative of Mr. Farmer for looking at that very closely. As we've dug into the data, you know, we did comparisons on per square foot cost of our facilities. What's our bills per dollars per square foot? One way you can calculate that. What's our most efficient facility? One of our newer facilities, our newer elementary is our most efficient facility, Gum Springs Elementary. Applaud that staff for the things they've done there. We're going to talk more at our principals meeting tomorrow about how to cut back and try to do energy savings. We don't want to be energy czars, but we want to be conscious of ways we can save money. Just as a part of that, we are looking, Mr. Farmer's meeting with different groups, trying to explore different opportunities to look at LED lights in our classrooms, upgrade HVAC systems, and we'll talk a little more about that throughout the district to become more efficient with our services. You know, we met with a group on energy efficiency with LED lighting. We've installed a sample kit at West Jackson Elementary over the past few weeks. I've gotten rave reviews from that. It's got a dimming feature on those lights where the teacher can dim those lights during her lessons or different times of the day. These are our EVO retrofits kits in this area of our building. If you walked out into the power area, into the main hallway in B, C, or E hall, you would see a covering with the old bulb lights, the old T8 fixtures. We've got to find a way to transition away from those units really throughout our district. We can't do that overnight, but we're consciously looking at that and trying to improve the lighting, but also improve our efficiencies with our energy systems. You know, we just think the annual savings will pay in time, will put that money back in our pocket. So you know, you can save up to 80% of the cost when you change out to an LED lighting system. Yes, sir. Mr. Farmer, how often we change the ballots? When they go out? Yeah, so you have those costs as well.
And really, these EVO kits are energy efficient, not that expensive. Time you buy a ballast, and most times you have to change the bulbs out on those PCAs. That's the way to go.
I was thinking, and of course, this is before your time and Dr. Brown's time. I thought that we had put in some of our buildings, the LED.
We have. So,
Right, David?
Yes, ma'am, in common areas, we are working on that this past summer, we put a lot in.
Well, I'm talking about a couple of years ago, though. And maybe we didn't do what I was thinking.
yeah.
We've done it, so there was some part of it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of our staff, we've done that with our staff during the summers. We've gone into the hallways and put a lot of EVO kits, so it saves money. There's no doubt. It's more energy efficient, but I think if we'll look throughout our schools, most of our lighting is in our classrooms and are in our larger areas. So we need to look at kind of trying to mitigate some of those costs as we go. Okay, so we've also evaluated equipment. In this facility, A Hall and D Hall had been renovated a couple of years ago as we moved in power to this facility. Many upgrades had been made, like here. Yeah, I mean, you can see it. Understand B Hall, C, and E halls were painted, but the energy efficiencies were not there. The lighting had not been redone. If you go in those hallways, you'll see the old lighting fixtures, and up and down those classroom halls. You'll also see HVAC units, in those hallways, that are the original HVAC units. We had a group in last week or 2 weeks ago, and they said they've never seen HVAC units work for 36 years. We've got to be conscious of that, and as a team, it's time to move to more energy efficient units, and time to kind of get past where we are in those hallways. Now, this facility operates fairly efficiently for the age of the facility, but those are some things we're looking forward to. So just want to update you on that. So we just want to bring you some updates on the work being done by our staffs, and at least in transportation and on the operations, on the maintenance side. They're just doing a great job and trying to keep up with things. So we appreciate the work they're doing. Also, Ms. Blake's doing a great job in her areas as well. I don't see the efficiencies there every month as I do with the other units. Yeah. So at this time, I'm going to let Mr. Farmer come up and do a update on our monthly projects.
Dr. Brown Board, I appreciate the opportunity to present to you tonight. Also appreciate that I get more than 2 minutes because I was not given a limit. So we'll go ahead and get started. But
They haven't started the clock yet.
they haven't, no. And they usually say 2 minutes. But anyway, we'll get started. So just an update.
Minute and a half right now.
I'm good. Just an update on our monthly project, Heroes, is going very well. I'm very proud to say that today we actually started the soil cement mixture, which is the base for our asphalt base to be put on top of. This helps us mitigate if we do have rainy weather come up. It forms a great surface so we can continue to work and bring vehicles in. Utility pipe installation is about 80%. You can see this is the center portion of the main stairwell. If we can go back a slide. There you go. First elevated slab has been poured on the first floor, and the slab on grades are 100% complete. CMUs, which are concrete masonry units, are going up rather quickly, and the crews are working together with our MEP crews to make sure that all the electrical, plumbing, and HVAC is being set as those are installed. So I appreciate the work that Carol Daniel is doing on site, managing all the subs. The upcoming planning that we have, the asphalt base will be installed mid-October. We hope to move up that timeline a little bit due to what we accomplished today. The off-site sanitary sewer will begin mid-October and should be completed in 8 to 10 weeks with weather holding. Elevated slab decks will be completed November. Like I said, we've already poured one, and we will continue to push to finish those. The structural steel will be completed in November, except for the awnings, and they will be completed once the brick and the foam installation is put on. The brick veneer, once the foaming is put on for the installation of the brick, the block, the brick will start at that point. Roof to begin mid-late October. That's very important, so if we can get this building in the dry, then when winter hits us, our subs inside our MEP subs can go ahead and start working, more so than what they are now. The furniture RFP, we have met with the different schools, the elementary teams, and also Dr. Hardigree and Ms. Ellis. I appreciate their time and effort that they're putting into it also to discuss furniture and furniture options. What better way to go than go to the experts that teach it every day? So we have their buy-in, and I appreciate that. Playground RFP is in progress, and we will continue to work on those two to meet timelines. All right, if we'll go to the next slide, please. As you can see, these pictures are pretty much outdated. Every day we take a picture, the next day it's outdated, so that's good. But this kind of gives you an idea of your main portion of the stairwell. This is a major undertaking and setting, but we had some great steel workers, and they did a good job getting in quickly. As you can see, this slab's already been poured actually, but this kind of gives you an idea of what actually goes under those slabs, electrical and plumbing. All right, next slide. Here again, this is the final pad that was poured, just a picture of that pour that morning. Once again, started about 2 o'clock on that pour, and as you can see, it finished up. This is that third floor elevated slab. This will have concrete placed on it. And next slide, please. This is the planning board, and just a look from the south side of Heroes. You can see the curb and gutter. This is staging for the construction piping, utility underground. And next slide. And here's an overall picture of Heroes. You can see the roof decking and getting ready for the TPO roof. Any questions? Yes, sir.
So, it's not my idea, but the electrical, and you think about it, solar. We ever talk about solar panels, electric, does that save money? Is it something
It's something that we can use around the school as far as some of our outside, like Centegics, things like that, that we currently do use for that. But as a large scale, it's something that we could definitely research and check into, Mr. Hollett. Not a bad idea. I know that a lot of companies have solar on their roofs, but yes, sir, it's always something we can check into. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
So about 2 weeks ago, Dr. Brown sent an email, and it had our notes from October of last year. And we showed a picture of Legacy Knoll. And what's the difference in, we should have put that picture up of what Legacy Knoll looked like a year ago and where we are with Heroes. And it's hard to picture, but, you know, as you talked about the asphalt about to be poured, asphalt had just been poured and the roof had just been put on. I think we're a couple of weeks behind that. Yet we started about 2.5 months behind. So with a late start date, I mean, I feel like that progress is exciting. Just to say one more time?
It's about the same.
Pretty close, yeah, pretty close to the same.
I think the elementary school is 125,000, and I think Legacy was 129.
I can't remember all that stuff, I'm sorry. Ms. Blake's going to come and give us some updates on school nutrition.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an update to you all today. The beginning of the year has been a really great one, and I am pleased with each of my teams out in the schools and their dedication to serving our students in our district the safe, healthy meals that they need to get through their day, to fuel their brains for learning and also activities. Our annual free and reduced process did start on Monday the 2nd. My staff member, Ms. Steen Pruitt, and I are in the process of notifying those families whose applications were randomly selected to provide additional supporting documentation to their application per USDA rules. As of Friday, though, our district free and reduced percentage is roughly 53%. Thanks largely in part to the Medicaid direct certification criteria, our district has not been in the 50% area since school year 15, just for context. And at that time, it was 51.76%. For additional context, we were at 38% last year. And a lot of that was coming off of the pandemic. We didn't take applications for 2 years prior to that, so getting families back in the habit has been a bit of a challenge, but with the direct certification with Medicaid for free and reduced, it's definitely helped our numbers. Next slide, please. So despite having a great free and reduced rate where it's at, meaning we're serving more families and they're able to eat at no cost, we do see the return of the post-pandemic rising student meal debt. This was an issue nationwide and a hot topic prior to COVID, and unfortunately it is back again, not just with us, but across the United States. Part of the barriers that I've read with student meal debt has been identified both anecdotally and through studies as being a result of the thresholds that the federal government puts on free and reduced eligibility statuses, because it looks at gross income of the family and not net. So if a family grosses $8,000 a month, but yet their net is less than that and they've got a family of 5, it's hard to support those families, and sometimes school meals is the last bill to get paid. While there's not much we can do to change those parameters, We, as a department, are in contact with local churches, businesses, individuals, and nonprofits to help us replenish our angel fund so that we can pay off student meal debt. An example of one of those that we are working with is All for Lunch, and we're working on a web-based platform for donations, and so hopefully we'll have a update for you on that soon. Next slide, please. And as you may or may not be aware of, our kitchens are actually regulated to be inspected by the health department twice a year. So we get one fall inspection and one spring inspection. And I am very pleased to announce that our schools are doing an amazing job serving safe meals to our students, resulting in a district health score of 99.08%. So food safety is a habit, and it has to be practiced and made second nature. My goal is for everyone to have a 100 on every inspection. And to kind of help achieve this goal, a segment of our managers' meetings that we do hold will be dedicated to food safety training topics to ensure our cafeterias remain some of the safest establishments to eat in Jackson County. Next slide, please. And this one's probably my most excited slide. Preliminary data regarding our meal participation this year. Year to date, we have served just over 346,000 meals. While breakfast numbers are lower than they were last year, which we anticipated going from no-cost breakfast to paid breakfast, our lunch numbers have increased to the point of us surpassing 6,000 meals yesterday. So after this slide was made, we hit 6,005 meals at lunch, which means we are serving well over half of our student body at lunch, which is absolutely amazing and is a testament to the talent and amazing staff members we have working in our kitchens. Breakfast is an area of focus for me, as there are areas of opportunity, not only in the numbers, but also in our menu offerings as well. Next week, 2 weeks, I will be going to Athens for an expo where I will get to meet with vendors and brokers and get to look at products that are out there, see what's new, what's exciting, innovative, and what would be tasty and potential adds to our bid for our breakfast menus. And that concludes my updates. Are there any questions you'll have for me? Absolutely.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the student debt? What is it? Why is it?
So, why is it? I'm not, as someone, I have kids of my own. I'm a single mom, have kids of my own, and one of those priorities that I have is making sure that my kids do have money on their accounts. Sometimes we're one of the last people to be remembered when it comes to those bills. We do our best to try to make our parents aware that their students do owe money. There's multifactorial.
So an average cost?
Oh,
So, I'll speak on this real quick, Ms. Blake. So if a kid comes to eat lunch and they don't have they don't have money on their account, we allow them to charge, correct?
correct,
But we do provide them with a meal, correct?
correct.
And we allow them to charge. And those charges are the accumulation of the debt that's been, and it's a significant amount of debt district-wide. It may only be $6 or $7 per kid in certain places, but as you have over 10,000 students, it adds up.
Well, we're on speakers now, but so, I mean, I already knew the answer to that really, but I wanted some recognition, because I had a conversation with Dr. Brown about this in the past. Instead of a sack lunch, we give the kids a meal. And so, to me, that's huge.
Correct. A child does not lose their tray when they come through the line. It's the gentle reminder of, hey, make sure you bring in lunch money, but they are not going to have their tray taken away from them and a cold sandwich or entree given to them in replace.
And so there are people in our community that are willing to help out with that. So if there's ways that we can get the word out, programs, whatever you mentioned earlier.
All for lunch, yeah.
All for lunch, because, our kids need to be fed.
Absolutely. I agree.
Thank you.
I appreciate you reaching out to those folks, different groups. I've made notes off my church too about that. I have a true need.
Yeah. Are there any additional questions for me? All right. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Board, we have one action item I'd like to present tonight for you all to consider. As we approach several construction projects in the future coming months, just to name a few: East Jackson Middle School addition, automotive lab at Empower, possibly the HVAC. We're looking into the HVAC project as we spoke earlier here. The turf and track field here at Empower, that will be in conjunction with our county government. That project's already got an intergovernmental agreement, but we will be doing that work up front.
Let me ask you, how much was the agreement is that gonna be a half and half?
They're gonna, we're gonna front the money. The agreement is for them to pay the expense. They're gonna reimburse us for that. Yes.
$2 million.
So they'll reimburse us for those costs that we expend. The other projects, Jackson County High School addition, as we prepare for those, lighting upgrades at multiple locations. So a little bit of background: architectural plans related to construction of educational facilities that house students, renovations, modifications, additions, or new constructions must be submitted to the Department of Ed per board rule. This is just kind of in alignment with that. It's our responsibility to hire a design professional to submit those plans and specifications. As you all know, Southern A&E has provided quality service for us for many years. They've been very responsive to our team, and they work well with Mr. Farmer and his staff. So what we're asking, or what we're proposing, is to receive authorization to negotiate with Southern A&E for the design services for the projects that were named as we move forward. So I don't think there's any, if there's any questions or comments about that, we're glad to certainly address that.
So they, tell me to the question, we say this is where we want this building, this is where we want this, they come up with everything else?
No, they come up with preliminary plans, and we negotiate back and forth. So, we've been given preliminary layouts, particularly at East Jackson Middle. They understand. We haven't negotiated the price. They understand we're bringing this to the board for approval. But we had kind of gotten into those conversations throughout over the months. If this ended today, we wouldn't owe them anything, of course. There's been no negotiated fee. At this point, we'll get into those fee structure on the different type projects, different levels of cost, and those type of things. There's a fee structure we'll put in place.
And we collaborate with them on what we like and what we don't like.
Yeah.
With regard to architectural plans.
Needs are not,
Yes, sir.
things we need. East Jackson Middle, we were in conversations earlier today about, this is what we project, this is kind of the changes we're going to make, so on and so forth. We met with Mr. Harris on all of that, of course. Okay? Any other questions? Yeah, thank you all.
Okay. So we need to have a motion to come back from executive session, please. All in favor? Aye. Okay. So we do have, a need to approve personnel list as seen. If I can have a motion for that as well, please. All in favor? Aye. Okay, that passes. And one more, please, to adjourn us. All in favor? Aye. All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for